Hello and welcome to This Week in Frax. I'm your host, Samuel McCulloch, joined by Mr. Wonderful DeFi Dave
Hello.
and the OX man himself, capital K.
Bonjour.
So the big news of this week is points. Stake FracXETH finally has a way to access Eigenlayer. We talked about it being added last week, but now we have a brand new protocol called Kelp DAO, which has added stake FracXETH as a deposit asset so that you can engage in points farming of Eigenlayer while having a liquid restaking token. Big news.
And where can you earn 20% more points in Kelp miles along with your Eigen points? Like, where can you do that exactly?
Well, we have a handy dandy referral link that is just in the show notes and also in this Twitter post as well too, that you can go and click on and get 20%. Normally you just get 10%, but with our link,
normally 10%, but for Flywheel, we had to push it to 20. I was like, guys, come on.
Yes.
You want like the best community in DeFi. You got to push it to 20. So if you're listening to this right now, if you have sfrxETH, go down below, go to the description right now, go put your sfrxETH into Kelp DAO. If you're kind of worried about like, oh, what is this? I'll let you know that Sam CC's son aped in 2,200 sfrxETH himself into Kelp DAO. So if he did it, then, I did it. I'll admit I did it too. I'm not sure if you guys did it either, but shout out Kelp DAO. Thanks for referral link. If you want to support the show, please go down below.
Well, Dave, you actually did an interview with Duraj this week.
Yeah, I did. It's so interesting. Like, I just find this whole game of staking and restaking like really interesting. I mean, it was going to happen eventually. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I mean, we were so early at Eigenlayer. We were like way before anybody really cared, but we caught, like, we understood the ramifications of it early. And we're like, okay, this is a big deal. This is like where we can see like FracxETH and sfrxETH involved in this. And then just seeing all these different like staking, restaking, lending protocols all going around, ETH, like all going around ETH. It's interesting. This is a result of just how the system is designed as proof of stake. And like, I don't know if it's like for like personally, like, I don't know how I feel. It's just like there, and you just keep on like leveraging the yield. And like, I'm all for it, but I just like, I don't know, like I kind of like the romantic in me likes proof of work better. And like, I really like Barachain's proof of liquidity, but like proof of stake has been on the roadmap for a while. And it's implemented and stuff, and like it is quite efficient. It gives what I like most about proof of stake is how it gives ETH like a monetary policy similar to like the dollar having interest rate. ETH has an interest rate, but it's just like interesting seeing like all these different like staking and restaking, and it's fine because like ETH is a like safe collateral asset. But like if we ever see like Pepe like as a restake your Pepe. Like stake your Pepe, restake your Pepe to secure the network, then I'm like, okay, then we might be like near the end of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me challenge you though. What if ETH restake 5 times is the same risk as Pepe securitizing your network?
It's the same risk. Yeah, no, that's it. Like this is kind of like this is a decision that ETH made. The direction I like how there's like options like, oh, if you want proof of work, there's Bitcoin. If you want like proof of stake, there's ETH. But yeah, I don't have any argument against that. If you like the risk that it is, you keep on like staking and restaking, and stuff like that. And then you have all these people like talk about client diversity. That's another big topic this week.
Yes.
Yeah. But like, it's funny because all the other blockchains, like Bitcoin, it only has Bitcoin core. Like, everybody just has like one client. It's only like Ethereum where it's like a discussion of like diversifying the clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I fully get you there. But it does add on extra risks. I mean, but we shouldn't really have those issues once we get to FracxETH 2. Anybody can run any client they want to. But it does pose a big problem though that does need to be addressed.
What if clients had points? I'm just kidding. I'm just
Ooh,
kidding.
that's a good take. That's a good take. If client had points, ooh,
Yeah. What do you guys
interesting.
think of points? This whole points meta.
I think it's getting better than. Remember, let's take a step back into like the evolution. Points are just another word for airdrop, but like delayed, right? And it just gives more flexibility to the project. So let's start with the very beginning with like Uniswap, right? I mean, I know that's not the very beginning, but that's the one that everybody remembers. It's like it just dropped to you, right? It's like just boop, there you go. And then over time, it's like, oh, hey, you have to like do shit, and it's like it's retroactive. And then now it's like, hey, you have to do shit. It's marked by points, and you have no idea how much you would get, right? So I think it gives the protocol more and more flexibility over time, and I think it's a pretty good natural evolution. I was talking with my buddies about like who started this points thing, and it was kind of like Frentech. Frentech was kind of the one
I thought it
that
was Blur.
really.
No, it's Blur. It's Blur.
Blur.
That's right. It was Blur, but I feel like Frentech was the one that actually made it to like a meta, right? Blur always had it, but then it was only for NFT people, like to do things. But I feel like let's call it Blur and Frentech had such impact on the future tokenomics of projects, and no one will probably realize it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Friends, you can argue like before before points, Friendtech was kind of this like cool experiment, but like after like with points, people just try to like, gamify the platform, and it kind of like ruined the platform in a bit because it was just like it just became a giant 3-3, and so everything dumped.
Yeah, exactly. But does Fraxtel are gonna have points?
Yeah, they are. They're gonna have Fraxtal points, FXTL Fraxtal points.
Do you ever think that Frax is going to have? I mean, like, okay, so Arbitrum has their long-term incentive program. Does the block space incentives take that role, just on a permanent basis?
I think the block space incentives will be a VEFXS. So
Yeah,
I think
because Arbitrum just is going to be finishing up their short-term incentive program in the end of February, and so there's a new program called the Long-Term Incentive Pilot Program that they're rolling out.
The long-term incentive pilot program.
Yeah, the LTIPP.
Oh, LTPP?
LTPP. So now they've elected this. They ran into some like issues there. So the whole process of getting the votes in and looking through, I think there was 100 different applications, Frax being one of them. That was really difficult. Castle Cap, who is like one of the best groups of analysts on Twitter, only made it through responses for about 45 of the short-term incentive program like proposals. That's not that many, right? Like out of 100, I think there's 120 actually. Only being able to respond 46 because they had very in-depth response. They read all of them, and they provided some good comments on how they could adjust. Now they have this like advisory council, which like takes in all the proposals. They read through them all, and then they pass them on to like a 5-member like grant team that just like approves the new incentive proposal. So,
how long is the long-term incentive program?
It's going to go for 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're either going to have 25, 35, or 45 million ARB that they can dish out during that time period.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so I guess.
So there was the issue with the applications. Like one of the other issues that they said in the proposal was that the like these rewards that are going out for STIP right now, the only thing that could be done with those rewards was to give them to your users, right? So let's say you had like an R&D idea, or you wanted to do something novel that wasn't like liquidity farming or something. It wasn't covered by STIP, and you weren't able to do it. So now like the new LTIPP has like pretty wide bearing on what they can and cannot do. Actually, they can pretty much fund anything. They can make a lot of mistakes and see what works and doesn't work. So, but I'm wondering if Frax will have some sort of with the Fraxtel launch, like not in the beginning, in the first couple of months, like once there's starting to see some significant usage and demand for Fraxtel, then they start like a program like that, in addition to the block space incentives.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, but the STIP is going alive, and it's going pretty crazy right now. We reported this week about brand new FXB pools on Arbitrum that at the time had like 5-digit yields.
What are they now?
So at the time we reported, they were like 10,000% for the max boost. Now they're down to 131% unboosted and 400% boosted for the larger one. The shorter dated FXB has about 50% boost and 150 fully boosted.
There's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. And since there was only about like $20,000, I think, when I wrote that article, now it's up to $683,000 on the larger FXB pool on the 2026, and then $217,000 on the 2024.
Damn, so there's still a lot of...
It's like $800,000 in just like 3 days.
That's pretty good, but there's still like a lot of... It could go down more. I mean, the tfBILL can go up more.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, definitely. Those are great yields.
Those are phenomenal yields.
Yeah.
You guys, get over to Arbitrum right now. I don't think there could be like a safer pool, like in terms of just economic risk, than a bond to stablecoin pool.
Yeah, definitely. And you like look at the other pools, like the Frax base pool is only earning about 17% boosted right now. So there's a big opportunity to go into these Arbitrum pools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty exciting. We've been covering the Arbitrum STIP here on Flywheel for the past couple of weeks. I believe this Monday is going to be week 4. We're tracking all the APRs and we're tracking all the TVLs just to keep you up to date, so you can see the best places to take your Frax, your FrxETH, stake FrxETH, sfrax, and go take it to Arbitrum and go take part in some of this liquidity farming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we got next?
Another story that we had was Connext proposed building a fast cross-chain liquidity for Frax Ferry. So what they want to do is build a 2-path system where the slow path will remain the original Frax Ferry that we know and use today. Mm-hmm. They want to build what they call like an upper level or like a fast path, which comprises of network of routers and liquidity providers. So these providers front funds to users to immediately complete their transaction and then later receive a refund from the slow path. So the system adds no extra trust assumptions, as the routers are compensated only upon successful execution of the transfers. And there's a 5 basis point fee for the services.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's reasonable.
So what they're looking for is $120,000 in funding from the Frax DAO for the development of this new fast system, this fast transfer system. And that would be paid in 90,000 in Frax tokens and then 30,000 in FXS tokens, and 50% at proposal approval and then 50% at completion.
I think a way to kind of judge if we really need that is to go into the Frax Telegram channel and see how many people complain about how slow the ferry is, to see if there's even demand.
A lot of people are complaining about how slow the ferry is.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think people complain about like missing the ferry. I see a lot of like missing the ferry complaints. Like I put my money in and I missed it by 5 minutes, and now I have to wait 24 hours before it gets picked up. So like a 48-hour wait time.
Yeah.
Don't be that person.
The Frax Ferry. It's not a bridge, guys. It's a ferry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that. Actually, it's a daily thing, right? Like the ferry picks you up, and like maybe we should tweet like an hour beforehand every day. Be like, ferry's leaving. Hop on.
We should do that.
Another big story that we had was the proposal for a new RWA partner for Frax by Adapter Digital, who wants to be integrated into the Frax RWA system with tfBILL. And so I think the floodgates kind of open once Centrifuge was approved a couple of weeks back. We talked about that. But now with third-party RWA managers coming in, tfBILL, I think, has a good chance to come in and provide treasury services for the growth of FXBs.
Yeah, I like the tfBILL guys. Big supporters.
Yeah, so we have an interview with Marcus that we just posted on Thursday.
On X.
Connext, yeah. And so we talked to him about his like the system of how it works. Essentially, they take the funds that they receive from Frax and they purchase just treasuries. There's no ETFs. There's no kind of derivative wrappers or anything. They buy the treasury products and then they hold them themselves in their BVI fund that they have. And then at the end of term, they'll essentially, at the end of maturity, they'll get their money back and then forward that back to the Frax DAO. And so I think they have a good system. They can allow for both onshore and offshore entities to engage with their contracts. And it seems like a nice growth path for Frax in the RWA space.
Yeah. I mean, they onboarded Centrifuge, so I can imagine them onboarding more partners as well.
Mm-hmm. So they requested $20 million to be deposited into their RWA system. And I think it'll do well. I think it's pretty cool.
But wait, 20 million Frax?
Well, they would like the 20 million USDC from the FXB sales that Frax is doing to be deposited into their system. But I don't think the FXBs are that big yet.
I don't think so either.
No. So maybe in the future. Yeah. Yeah. So like what else? I have a couple more stories, but what else do you guys see this week?
The lending proposal, the lending fee.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got one more governance thing. This just came up a couple of minutes ago while we were like looking at the forums. So the core team has proposed implementing a 10% protocol fee on Fraxlend.
That's a big step. That's a sign of maturity for the product. You find product market fit. You develop, a user base, an active user base. Some pairs have, really high rates, and so it's definitely getting used. It's been around for a while. It's been like a year and a half since it launched, I believe. It's been a year, since 2022. And so, it seems like right now the team finds it to be an appropriate time to tack on a fee that is the industry standard, Aave and whatnot. So, I'm like indifferent to it. I mean, if I feel like it was going to happen eventually, whether, if I'm a lender or like, oh shit, but like, oh, well, I guess I'm kind of, it's going to happen eventually. That's my view. What do you guys think?
Yeah. So in the past 30 days, there's been about $850,000 worth of interest, which has been collected by lenders into the system. A 10% fee would net Frax about $80,000 a month from that. I think the issue at hand with this is that, like, Kit, this, but how much AMO funds are actually the core of all the Frax that's been lent into Fraxlend?
70%.
70%.
So I'm like, that's why with this proposal, I mean, I'm sure the team has good rationale for it. I just figure it's like, how are they going to charge this 10%? I would imagine it is on the spread between what's being lent versus what's being borrowed at. So I would imagine that's where you capture that 10%. But if 70% of the revenue comes from the team themselves, then it's like, right pocket moving to left pocket.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Sure.
Let's say we remove the CRV pool and the other pools which don't have AMO funds. Of the pools that are supported by AMOs, like how much of that is because this one feels specifically like if I was going to change this proposal, thinking about it, I would just limit it to non-AMO pools because Frax is already earning interest on the AMO funds that are being lent out. Mm-hmm. And they probably constitute like 90 to 95% of all the lent funds in those pools, right? It's really the non-AMO pools, specifically the CRV pool, which is the highest earning pool, which potentially this could be applied to. And so that CRV pool, based on the previous 30-day figures, earned passed back $459,000 of interest. Thank you, Michael, for supporting the.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. But
thank you for your service.
But I don't know. Like, unfortunately, Frax.finance doesn't break down exactly which pool the AMO is deployed into specifically. But we all see the yield, and it's like CRV borrowing rates are 36%. So that's like ludicrous, right?
Yeah.
And then the lending rate is 30%. So there's that delta there of 6% right now in and of itself. So I was like,
I think this just needs to be more specification what exactly 10% is.
Exactly.
Well, it would be on the interest that's being passed back. So if there's, like $850,000 worth of interest being passed back a month, Frax would take 10% of that.
Passed back from the borrow to the lend, right?
Yeah.
But then if I'm getting paid 36%, but I have to pay 30%, then there's a 6% profit in there already baked in, no?
So look at this. So the AMO pools are like 70 million, right? Mm-hmm. The non-AMO pools, right? The largest one is the CRV Frax pool that has 16.2 million in it. The next one is the FXS Frax pool that has 5 million in it. So the AMO plus the two pools which don't have AMO funds, it's already 90 million in there. And then there's like a couple of other smaller pools, like the Maker and everything else, which are make up that. So like if we take out the CRV and the FXS pools, then there's only like Frax is providing like 90 to 95% all the liquidity. So like that protocol fee won't really affect them. I think this is more geared towards specifically two pools, the FXS Frax pool and the CRV Frax pool.
Yeah.
Which also have the highest amount of, and potentially the CVX Frax pool as well too. So these three pools consistently have the highest amount of interest that's being paid.
Yep. I think you're right. Actually, I just had to scroll down, but I see that the AMO is lent into the sfrxETH, WBTC, FPI, and WETH, and Maker and FXS pair. So CRV and CVX is just from regular users depositing in there. Yeah. So I guess
those pools consistently have like double-digit APRs.
And the highest. Yeah. That makes sense.
So maybe this just needs to be changed for like a 10% protocol fee for non-AMO pools.
Yeah.
Something to think
possibly.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll ask in chat. Well, cool. I think that's everything we got for today. A lot of governance stuff this week, but we're excited. We only have like a week, guys. So today's the 25th.
It could be a week.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? Like we're like approximately over under like a week out to FracChain. Yeah. Everything is going to change.
Yeah, it's gonna be a brave new world, and that includes This Week in Frax going to new places, because this is in fact the last YouTube episode of This Week in Frax. Thank you everyone for watching this. But we are moving to Twitter. We're going to Spaces. So this is going to be a lot more of a community-oriented program in the future. So please come hop on with us. It's going to be on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern. Every Thursday, 2 p.m. We're going to have This Week in Frax. And who knows what special guests may be coming around. So definitely want to mark it on your calendars. We'll tweet about it as well. But if you want to catch up with everything Flywheel, make sure you go ahead, hit that bell button. You subscribe right now. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Give us a like. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials. Flywheel DeFi on Twitter, TikTok, and Telegram. Make sure to go to our website, flywheeldefi.com. Subscribe for all our latest updates. You won't want to miss a beat, especially with Frax still coming out. You can follow yours truly, DeFi Dave 22, on Twitter.
You follow me at 0xcapital_K.
And I'm at traders_insight.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.